So I wanted to do a quick video about how we interpret the slope of a regression equation, or actually the slope for anything really. So first of all, slope, which is sometimes called the marginal change, it represents the average amount that y changes when x changes by 1 unit. Okay, so that's essentially kind of the very basics of what slope is. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at just a completely fictitious example here. And I'm going to look at daily income, which is measured in dollars per person. So income, dollars per person. I suppose I should put daily on there. And we want to see how that impacts life expectancy. And that would be measured in years. Let's pretend that we did a scatter plot with a regression line and the line of best fit goes there. And let's pretend that our regression equation was y hat equals, again, completely made up, 0.14x plus 30. Okay, all of this is made up. Now, the first thing to do is identify our slope. So our slope is the value that is attached to the x. So it is the 0.14. And what it tells us is that's the average amount that y changes. So if we look at our y value or topic, we're looking at life expectancy measured in years. So what this is telling me is that the life expectancy changes by about 0.14 years every time that x changes by 1 unit. So every time that our income changes by $1 per person, the daily income. Okay, that is what slope is telling us, is that this life expectancy, in this case, would be going up because it's positive by 0.14 years for every increase of $1 of daily income per person. Now, that is not the only way to phrase it. It's not going to be the only way that you see it phrased. And that's still a lot of times really confusing for students to get to that point on their own. So what I have done is I have created kind of a, kind of a structure, I guess, that you can use. So you would want to copy this down exactly as you see it here. And then all of the spots that are in color are things that you would fill in with that particular item. So for this one, I would start with the, and then the yellow part here says I need the y-axis topic. Well, I was looking at life expectancy. So the life expectancy. All right, and again, that was the yellow part here. And then we have to choose increase or decrease. Now that depends on whether or not your slope is positive or negative. If your slope is positive, it would be increase. If your slope is negative, it would be decrease. I'm having trouble getting back to my pen. Okay, so I would go with increases. So the life expectancy increases by, and now I need the numeric value of the slope. So my numeric value was 0.14. Okay, and then I need the units of the y-axis, what it's being measured in. Okay, in this case it would be years. So I suppose I should spell it out. Okay, and then for every one, and then the last part here, it says the x-axis topic and unit together. Just put them in a way that makes the sentence make more sense. So for every $1 of daily income per person. Okay, and then we would end it with just on average. So you can see we have all of the pieces that are kind of like a fill in the blank. Now, there are going to be plenty of times where this doesn't necessarily make like a sentence, so you might have to go back and reword it a little bit, adjust it a little bit, but this will hopefully get you the general idea, the general formatting of how to do the slope interpretation. So I've got another example here. Okay, so this one, I'm looking at the unemployment rate measured in percent versus this happiness score, which is also measured in percent. For context, the unemployment rate would be my independent variable. The happiness score would be my dependent variable. Let's pretend that this was the regression equation that was modeled after the data set. Again, 100% made up information here. Well, if I am asked to interpret the slope, I'm going to use kind of this structure up here. So I would say, and now my y-axis topic would be happiness score, which is actually a thing, by the way. Okay, increases or decreases. Now this time, because my slope is negative, my slope is negative 5.6. And again, you can always identify your slope by finding your variable, the x, and it is the number that is attached to the x. Anyhow, so my value is negative this time, so I would put decreases. Okay, so the happiness score decreases by the number of the slope, 5.6. I would not put the negative on here because the negative is taken care of right there by the word decreases. So the happiness score decreases by 5.6, and then the unit of my axis, or y-axis, well, it's measured in percent, so I could just put the symbol or the word. And then I'm up here. For every one, okay, and now I need my x-axis, a topic, and unit. For every one, I am going to do percent of unemployment rate. Okay, and then end it with on average, or approximately, or something like that. Okay, now again, might not be the best sentence, but it will hopefully give you the general idea. You can reword it as long as it's conveying the same thing, that this happiness score decreases by 5.5% for every time the unemployment rate goes up by 1%. Okay, so again, you can use this structure if you want. This is not the only way that these sentences can be written and will be written, but hopefully it'll at least give you a start, and then you can work from there.